more about vertical ventilation. The natural tendency is for heated gas to rise. When it cannot do this, it will spread out horizontally, which is called the mushrooming effect. There are several ways to prevent this horizontal spread. Build a fire-resistant partition, position a countering hose stream, or let the gas continue going upward, where it wants to go anyway, which works best in multi-story structures by making an opening directly over any vertical arteries that the fire is heading towards. The most common vertical artery is the staircase. If you make a large enough opening at the top, the fire will continue upward without extending horizontally. You should look for buildings where this is possible, and if there is a serious fire, make every effort to vent this area as soon as possible. Some buildings even have skylights over the staircase. If this is the case, you can break the glass panes, which will provide quick ventilation. Before you do this, though, remember to warn other fire personnel down below that you're getting ready to break the glass. Break a single pane first and pause momentarily. If you are one of the members down below, keep your head level and don't look up or down. You should also stay as close to the wall as possible, keeping your arms and hands close to your body. Also, keep in mind that some staircases continue past the top floor, ending in a small bulkhead with a door leading onto the roof. You will need to open this door for additional ventilation, but even more importantly, to check the roof landing for any fire victims that attempted to escape to the roof. Other vertical paths for fire travel are pipe chases and dumbwaiter shafts. Dumbwaiters are small, hand-operated mini elevators that were common in multi-story residential buildings built in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Most of these are no longer in use, and some have been replaced by compactor chutes, but the shaft will still be there. Any fire that makes it to one of these shafts will quickly zoom to the top. Check to see if there is a door or skylight at the top of the dumbwaiter shaft, and if there is, open it to allow the fire to escape. The pipe chases are usually found behind kitchen and bathroom walls and extend right up to the underside of the roof boards, where a single vent pipe, called a soil pipe, extends through the roof. This pipe will give you a good idea of where the vertical arteries are, and if the pipe is hot, it will also tell you the fire could be in the attic or cockloft. Now let's discuss venting flat roofs. Flat roofs are usually found on larger buildings, such as stores, factories, schools, and apartment buildings. There are two primary types of flat roofs, the old-style flat roof and the metal deck roof. The old style can be designed as either a standard flat roof or an inverted roof. Older flat roofs have wooden beams of 2x10s or even 3x12s as the main support beams. These are usually spaced 16 inches apart and can carry the same loads as the floor joists below them. They are limited in length to about a 20-foot span between supports, which is usually either a masonry bearing wall or a steel I-beam. Nailed directly to these roof beams is the roof decking, usually 1x6 tongue-and-groove boards, or on newer buildings, plywood. The roof decking is then covered by layers of tar paper and then mopped with hot tar to seal it. Sometimes gravel was spread over the hot tar. In some very old buildings, the tar paper can be up to 4 inches thick, making it difficult to cut through. These are relatively safe roofs to work on, even over a heavy body of fire, due to the mass of the supporting beams. The roof boards will burn through first, before there is any danger to the supporting joists, which makes catastrophic roof failure unlikely. It is possible, however, to step through the deck if the roof boards are weakened, which could plunge the firefighter's foot or leg right into the flames. A working fire on the top floor of any large area, flat roof building needs at least 4 men equipped with 2 power saws, 2 6 or 8 foot pike poles or hooks, a Halligan tool, an axe, and at least 1 portable radio. If possible, an officer experienced in roof ventilation should also be assigned to this location. As soon as you get to the roof, you should begin venting any vertical shafts you can find, such as bulkhead doors or skylights. You should also vent the top floor windows by striking them with a hook or a Halligan tool tied onto a rope. Only after you have vented the stair and other shafts and the top floor windows should you begin roof cutting. Do this by getting as close to the area over the fire as is safely possible. Do this only after you evaluated the condition of the roof and the danger of collapse. Sometimes, locating the fire takes some investigating. Fire coming out the windows is a good indicator, while smoke may not be as reliable. You can also look at the surface of the roof for bubbles in the tar, or steam, or by cutting examination holes. There are 2 common types of examination holes, a triangular opening or a short, narrow slit called a kerf cut. Both of these cuts are made with a power saw. The kerf cut is the fastest and easiest type of examination hole, plus it's easy to repair if need be. Just plunge the saw through the roof and pull it out. You'll make an opening of about 1/4 of an inch by 10 inches long. Because the opening is so narrow, it can be difficult to see the fire, especially during daylight. The triangular cut is a little more time-consuming, but it's easier to see the fire. Just plunge the saw through the roof 3 times so the edges of the cuts overlap. Once you've chosen the right location, make everyone in the area aware of what you plan to do. Plan an escape route off the roof in case things go badly. You should always have at least 2 ways off the roof. When you make your cut, make sure it's not between the members and their only means of escape, or else you could become trapped on the roof. Also, be aware of the wind direction. The wind can blow the smoke or fire in such a way that it could block your escape, and wind will change direction at some point during the operation. The saw operator must be able to cut with both the left and the right hand so that he can stand on solid roofing at all times. Locate the supporting roof joist by striking the roof with the blunt end of a tool. When the tool hits between the joists, it will have a slight bounce to it, but when it hits above a joist, it will be solid with little or no bounce. Make the cut close to the inside of the selected joist. This will make as large an opening as possible with the least amount of nails to be pulled up. Making the cut just a few inches to the outside of the beam would add many more nails to deal with. For a serious fire in a large area flat roof, your goal is to create an 8 foot by 8 foot or a 10 by 10 foot vent hole. When making this hole, you'll have to divide the opening into smaller sized pieces, usually about 4 by 4 feet each. Also, be sure to make knockout holes at the corners, which are triangular openings at the corners of each section. This will make it much easier to pull up the roof boards. You can begin opening the hole once the 8 foot by 8 foot outline has been cut. It's not usually a good idea to start pulling one cut section before the rest of the cut has been completed, but sometimes you'll have no choice. If you only have one saw, it can take such a long time to complete the cut opening that the interior forces could be driven out of the building because of fire and smoke. Even one small section being pulled will provide some relief inside. If the wind is shifting, make all the cuts before you open up, so that you won't be driven off the roof by the smoke and heat if the wind shifts. Sometimes you'll have to make the hole even larger. If practical, do this by cutting as many additional bays between the joists as possible, instead of extending the channel between existing joists. Sometimes it's not just smoke blowing out of the hole that's the problem. It's fire or intense heat. If you still have cuts to make, use a previously cut section of the roof as a shield, which should buy you enough time to make more cuts or to start pulling the next section of the hole. Remember, never put a hose line into any ventilation opening. The hole is there to let all the bad stuff out, and a hose stream from the top will just blow it all back in on the troops below. Plus, it won't cool the burning material under the roof, so it can't put the fire out. When you're working this closely over the seat of the fire, you must continually evaluate the stability of the roof, especially if previous fires or rot have weakened it.